Marcus Chen stood barely 5 feet tall among the towering alien delegates in the Galactic Council's Grand Assembly Hall. The crystalline beings of Zephyria stretched nearly 8 feet into the air, their translucent bodies refracting the chamber's ambient light into prismatic rainbows. The heavily armored Carathians clanked with each movement, their exoskeletons gleaming like polished obsidian. Even the plant-like Verdanians swayed gracefully at 7 feet, their leaf-crowned heads rustling with ancient wisdom. And then there was Marcus. Human, unremarkable, and apparently insignificant. The Terran delegation wishes to address the matter of the Voidstalkers, announced Councillor Veltar, her forearms gesturing dismissively at the small human. Snickers rippled through the assembly like wind through grass. What could such a diminutive species possibly contribute to this discussion? Rumbled General Thaxmore of the Carathian Empire. His voice resonated through his helmet speakers, dripping with condescension. The Voidstalkers have terrorized the Outer Rim for centuries. They are apex predators beyond measure, beings that have never known defeat. Marcus cleared his throat, the sound barely registering in the vast chamber. Honorable delegates, humanity requests permission to make contact with the Voidstalkers. The laughter that erupted was immediate and overwhelming. Councillor Zephus of the Crystal Beings chimed like breaking glass. Contact? Dear little Terran, the Voidstalkers don't make contact, they make meals. Your species has been part of the Galactic Council for what, 50 Terran years? Added Ambassador Thornweave of the Verdanians, leaves rustling with amusement. You have no understanding of the danger you speak of. These creatures are living nightmares. They hunt through the vacuum of space itself. Their ships are grown rather than built, and they see all other life as either prey or competition. Marcus nodded respectfully. With respect, honorable delegates, that's exactly why we should try. The chamber fell into a stunned silence before erupting into fresh waves of laughter. 3 months later, the laughter had died. The ITS Determination, humanity's newest deep space vessel, drifted silently through the void nebula where the stalkers were known to hunt. Captain Sarah Okafor sat in the command chair, watching her sensors with practiced calm while Marcus stood beside her, having insisted on accompanying the mission despite the Council's protests. Contact on long-range sensors, reported Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez from the sensor station. It's big. The view screen shimmered to life, revealing a ship that seemed to have been grown rather than built. All curves and organic surfaces, black as the void itself and easily 3 times the size of their vessel. It moved with predatory grace, closing the distance between them with alarming speed. They're hailing us, Rodriguez said, surprise evident in her voice. On screen, Captain Okafor ordered. The being that appeared defied easy description. Tall and lean with elongated limbs and fingers that ended in razor-sharp claws, its skin was a deep, matte black that seemed to absorb light. But it was the eyes that captured attention, large, multifaceted and gleaming with an intelligence that was both alien and oddly familiar. When it spoke, its voice was a harmony of whispers that somehow conveyed meaning directly to their minds. Small ship, from the young stars you do not flee, you do not attack, curious. Marcus stepped forward, his heart hammering but his voice steady. Great hunter, we come seeking understanding. The creature's head tilted, a gesture that seemed almost human. Understanding? You use our own word in your mind speech. Tell us, small one. What do you understand of the hunt? That it never ends, Marcus replied without hesitation. That survival requires constant vigilance, endless adaptation, and the willingness to face what others call impossible. That sometimes, the smallest predator brings down the largest prey through patience, intelligence, and sheer bloody-minded determination. The silence stretched for long moments. Then something changed in those multifaceted eyes, a flicker of what could only be called recognition. Show us, the Voidstalker commanded. What followed was unlike any first contact in galactic history. Instead of technology exchanges or cultural presentations, the humans found themselves engaged in a series of tests that pushed every limit they possessed. combat simulations where they faced impossible odds with insufficient resources, strategic puzzles that required thinking 17 steps ahead, endurance trials that measured not just physical stamina, but mental resilience. Through it all, the Void Stalkers watched, studied, and gradually began to understand what the Galactic Council had failed to see. Humans weren't just another prey species that had stumbled into space. They were persistence hunters who had clawed their way to the top of their food chain on a death world through sheer relentless determination. They were a species that looked at impossible odds and responded with variants of, "Hold my beer" and "Watch this." When the testing was complete, the lead Void Stalker, who had introduced himself as Hunt Leader Kethrak, stood before Marcus with something approaching respect in his alien features. "We have observed your species files from the Council databases," he said, his mental voice carrying undertones of amazement. "You hunt in packs across vast distances. You pursue prey until it collapses from exhaustion. You adapted to survive in environments that would kill most spacefaring species. You wage war against your own kind for resources and territory, yet unite instantly against external threats." The Hunt Leader's head tilted in that almost human gesture. "Tell us, small pack hunter, what do you call a species that exhibits every trait of an apex predator while looking like prey?" Marcus smiled, understanding dawning in his eyes. "Camouflaged." "Indeed. The Council sees your size and assumes weakness. We see your nature and recognize kin." Kethrak's claws clicked against the deck plating. "The Void Stalkers have not known equals in 1,000 cycles. Today, that changes." When the human delegation returned to the Galactic Council 6 months later, they came not as supplicants, but as representatives of the newly formed Apex Alliance. The Void Stalkers, apex predators of the Void, had not only made contact with humanity, they had welcomed them as evolutionary cousins. The other species' laughter had indeed stopped. In its place was the dawning realization that they had been sharing the galaxy with sleeping giants, and those giants were finally waking up. As Marcus took his place at the expanded council table, now flanked by a towering Void Stalker whose mere presence made the other delegates nervous, he couldn't help but smile at the memory of their earlier dismissals. After all, on Earth, they had a saying about judging books by their covers, and sometimes the smallest packages contained the most explosive surprises.